Pope Francis, aged 88, delivered his final heartfelt blessing on Easter Sunday, offering a moving farewell that deeply resonated with the thousands who gathered at the Vatican. Despite his frail health, he made an appearance on the balcony of St. Peter's Basilica, supported by aides, as 35,000 faithful watched. Though he appeared physically exhausted, the Pope maintained a peaceful and resolute presence. While seated, he witnessed the traditional Easter message, read on his behalf by a senior cardinal. In his message, he urged the world to end the countless conflicts spreading across nations. He pleaded with political leaders to lay down weapons and choose peace over destruction, condemning what he called a disturbing and persistent thirst for death and killing that was increasingly apparent in global society. The Pope specifically addressed the tragedies faced by women, children, and marginalized communities, including migrants. He mourned the violence and discrimination that afflicted these vulnerable groups. In a powerful call for unity, he asked people to open their hearts to those who differ from them, whether in culture, origin, or beliefs, reminding everyone that humanity is one, and all are children of God. His hope was for renewed faith in peace, compassion, and mutual trust. He also called for the release of prisoners of war and political detainees, linking this desire for liberation to the Jubilee year and the symbolic spirit of Easter. On what would become his final public appearance, Pope Francis made an emotional tour in the Pope Mobile through St. Peter's Square after his Easter blessing. Just weeks earlier, he had been discharged from the hospital following a serious case of double pneumonia, for which he had spent over a month being treated at Rome's Gemelli Hospital. His courage and determination to engage with the public despite his deteriorating health were received with thunderous applause. His Easter message, filled with calls for peace, forgiveness, and solidarity, became his lasting legacy of spiritual leadership. Earlier that day, Francis held a brief and private meeting with U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance at his residence in Casa Santa Marta. The visit was kept low-key and underscored the pontiff's continuing commitment to dialogue and diplomacy, even in his weakened state. On March 23, he had left the hospital under what Vatican officials described as a protected discharge, indicating both his delicate condition and the need for close monitoring. Nonetheless, he insisted on appearing publicly for Easter, determined to maintain his pastoral role. Cardinal Kevin Farrell, the Vatican Camerlengo, officially announced the Pope's death early the next morning. The Vatican released a statement confirming that Pope Francis passed away peacefully at 7:35 a.m. local time. Farrell acknowledged the Pope's lifelong dedication to God and the Church and expressed profound gratitude for his example as a servant of Christ. The Vatican community and the global Catholic population were immediately plunged into mourning, commemorating the life of a pontiff who changed the landscape of modern Catholicism. Unlike his predecessors, Pope Francis chose not to be buried in St. Peter's Basilica but rather in Santa Maria Maggiore, a significant church in the Esquilino district of Rome. He also rejected the tradition of being buried in 3 coffins, instead opting for a single coffin made of wood and zinc, symbolic of his humility and lifelong advocacy for a simpler, more compassionate church. His body will lie in state in St. Peter's Basilica during the official mourning period, after which preparations for the conclave will begin. As dictated by tradition, cardinals from around the world will gather in the Sistine Chapel to elect the next pope, though the process will not commence until at least 15 days after his death. Born Jorge Mario Bergoglio in Buenos Aires, Argentina, Francis was the first pope from Latin America and the first Jesuit to hold the role. He succeeded Benedict XVI in March 2013 after the latter's historic resignation, which made him the first pope in nearly 600 years to voluntarily step down. Francis presented a stark contrast to Benedict, embracing a more informal and approachable style of leadership. He loved football, preferred simple clothing, and often interacted personally with the public. His warmth and compassion quickly won the admiration of many around the world. During his 12-year papacy, Francis advocated for social justice, the rights of migrants, and environmental protection. He was instrumental in reshaping Vatican governance, attempting to make it more transparent and inclusive. Among his most significant efforts was his campaign to address the Church's historical mishandling of child sexual abuse by clergy. He revised church law to strengthen accountability and prevent future cover-ups, although some critics argue that his actions did not go far enough to bring justice to victims. His papacy was also characterized by doctrinal reforms and a more progressive tone on issues traditionally sensitive within Catholicism. He softened the Church's stance on divorced and remarried Catholics and showed compassion toward LGBTQ individuals, famously stating, "If someone is gay and is searching for the Lord and has goodwill, then who am I to judge?" These views earned him praise from many but also sharp criticism from conservative factions within the Church. In the final months of his life, Francis faced growing opposition from high-ranking cardinals, who accused him of compromising core Catholic teachings. Health issues plagued Francis in his later years, significantly limiting his mobility and stamina. He underwent several medical procedures, including colon surgery in 2021 and abdominal hernia repair in 2023. He suffered from chronic knee pain that forced him to use a wheelchair and had multiple falls, the last of which occurred in January 2025, when he injured his arm and wore a sling. His medical vulnerability was compounded by the fact that he had lost part of one lung as a young man due to pleurisy, making him especially susceptible to respiratory illnesses. Despite these challenges, Francis continued to carry out his duties with remarkable commitment. He maintained a demanding schedule even after being hospitalized, and hosted world leaders such as the Prime Minister of Slovakia shortly before his final illness. Although he once indicated that he would resign if he could no longer fulfill his responsibilities, he later insisted that the time for retirement had not yet come. His steadfastness in the face of physical decline inspired many and emphasized his dedication to his role as the spiritual leader of 1.4 billion Catholics. The Pope's absence will leave a profound impact on the Church. He guided the Vatican through one of the most transformative periods in recent history, confronting internal corruption, reforming financial practices, and encouraging lay participation in leadership roles. His emphasis on mercy, empathy, and service shaped the modern image of the papacy and helped bridge divides between the Church and various marginalized communities. He also played a critical role in reinvigorating global interfaith dialogue, striving for unity and mutual understanding across religious lines. Even though his health frequently faltered, Pope Francis never allowed his condition to silence his voice. He used every opportunity to champion the causes closest to his heart, caring for the poor, welcoming strangers, promoting peace, and protecting the earth. His moral authority resonated far beyond the walls of the Vatican, earning him international respect and recognition. His final year was marked by mounting tensions within the Church. The Synod, a global consultation on the future of Catholicism, brought to the surface deep divisions between progressive and conservative factions. Francis led the initial phases of this initiative but was unable to see it through to completion. Now, his successor will inherit this complex legacy and the responsibility to carry forward a vision of unity amid diversity. In many ways, Francis broke the mold of the traditional pope. His deep humility, unwavering advocacy for the marginalized, and ability to communicate hope and compassion made him a beloved figure worldwide. His choice of burial, his simpler lifestyle, and his outreach to people of all backgrounds and beliefs reflected a man deeply committed to the essence of faith rather than its formal trappings. As the Church prepares to choose its next leader, it does so in the shadow of a man who spent his final years reminding the world of the power of kindness, love, and forgiveness. Pope Francis's death marks the end of an era, but his legacy of inclusion, peace, and reform will echo through the Church and the hearts of millions for years to come. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe and turn on the notification bell for more updates on celebrity deaths and news updates.